The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. This statement, often attributed to Socrates, seems paradoxical. How can someone claim to know nothing and still be considered wise? And yet, this simple declaration has echoed through millennia, influencing philosophers, scientists, skeptics, and thinkers from ancient Greece to modern times. In an age obsessed with certainty, confidence, and having all the answers, Socrates dares to suggest that the wisest person is the one who admits their ignorance. But what did he really mean by "I know that I know nothing"? Is this just false modesty, a rhetorical trick, or is there a deeper truth here? A truth that might change the way we think about knowledge, truth, and wisdom itself? Today, we're diving deep into the philosophical roots and implications of Socratic ignorance. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey, your guide through the complex, curious, and compelling world of ideas, history, and the human experience. If you're someone who loves asking deep questions, challenging assumptions, and exploring the intellectual landscape of the past and present, you're in the right place. Let's unfold today's question together. Is Socratic ignorance true wisdom? To understand the quote, we need to understand the man. Socrates, 469 to 399 BCE, was a classical Greek philosopher credited as one of the founders of Western philosophy. Unlike many philosophers, Socrates wrote nothing down. We know him through the accounts of his students, especially Plato. Socrates wandered the streets of Athens, engaging citizens in dialogue. These weren't casual chats. He would ask pointed questions that revealed how little people really knew about justice, virtue, piety, or love. He wasn't trying to humiliate them, though he often did, but to show that many people think they know more than they actually do. This method became known as the Socratic method, a form of cooperative dialogue that stimulates critical thinking and illuminates ideas through questioning. At the heart of his method was a humble yet radical premise. True wisdom begins when we recognize our own ignorance. The phrase, "I know that I know nothing," doesn't appear verbatim in Plato's dialogues, but its spirit is clearly conveyed. In Plato's Apology, Socrates describes how his friend Chaerephon asked the oracle of Delphi if anyone was wiser than Socrates. The oracle replied, "No one." Socrates was puzzled. He didn't think himself wise. So he set out to find someone wiser than himself. He questioned politicians, poets, craftsmen, people who were considered knowledgeable. And what did he find? That they thought they knew much, but on closer inspection, their knowledge was full of contradictions and shallow assumptions. Socrates concluded, "I am wiser than this man, for neither of us appears to know anything great and good, but he fancies he knows something, although he knows nothing, whereas I do not know anything, so I do not fancy I do." This humility, knowing that he did not know, is what Socrates considered true wisdom. Socratic ignorance seems contradictory. If you know that you don't know, doesn't that count as knowing something? Yes, and that's exactly the point. Socrates isn't promoting ignorance for ignorance's sake. He's not saying we should walk around clueless. He's highlighting a specific kind of intellectual humility, the recognition that our knowledge is limited, conditional, and sometimes illusory. This insight forms a core principle in epistemology. The philosophy of knowledge, the more we learn, the more we realize how vast the unknown is. As physicist Richard Feynman later echoed, "I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned." In a world filled with experts, influencers, and endless streams of information, the illusion of knowledge is more dangerous than ignorance itself. Psychology even has a term for this, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people with limited knowledge overestimate their understanding, while those with deeper insight are more aware of their limits. Socratic ignorance is a powerful antidote to arrogance, dogma, and blind certainty. It invites us to stay curious, to question assumptions, and to remain open to new perspectives. This mindset is foundational to science, democracy, education, and personal growth. It encourages us not to cling to what we think we know, but to keep learning, adjusting, and evolving. It's important to distinguish Socratic ignorance from cynicism or nihilism. Socrates wasn't saying nothing matters or we can't know anything, so why try? Quite the opposite. He believed in the pursuit of truth. He just understood that truth is complex and that overconfidence can blind us to it. His ignorance was methodological, not absolute. It was a tool for uncovering deeper insights. This stands in contrast to today's trend of contrarian skepticism, where every idea is dismissed and truth itself is considered relative. Socratic ignorance is not about dismantling truth, but about approaching it with humility and rigor. For Socrates, ignorance wasn't just an intellectual concern, it had ethical weight. He believed that virtue is tied to knowledge, and that wrong actions come from ignorance. If we truly understood justice, we wouldn't commit injustice. Thus, to improve ourselves morally, we must examine our beliefs and assumptions. His famous motto, "The unexamined life is not worth living," is a call to intellectual and ethical self-inquiry. Socratic ignorance isn't passive. It's a challenge to constantly reflect, question, and grow. Socrates' approach laid the foundation for Western thought. His method inspired Plato, who inspired Aristotle, whose logic shaped centuries of philosophy and science. His spirit lives on in the scientific method, which begins with doubt and inquiry; critical thinking, which relies on questioning assumptions; dialogue and democracy, which value open exchange over authoritarian dictates. Socratic ignorance remains a powerful reminder. Certainty is easy, but real wisdom requires the courage to say, "I don't know," and then seek better answers. Let's return to the question, is Socratic ignorance true wisdom? If wisdom is the recognition of limits, the pursuit of truth, and the humility to keep learning, then yes, Socratic ignorance isn't just wise, it's essential. In a world often divided by rigid ideologies, loud opinions, and superficial answers, this ancient insight calls us back to something deeper. To be wise is not to know everything, but to recognize that knowledge is a journey, not a destination. So the next time you're tempted to speak with absolute certainty, or when you feel like you need to have all the answers, remember Socrates. It's okay to say, "I don't know." In fact, that might just be the wisest thing you can say. If you enjoyed this exploration into the life and ideas of Socrates, and you want to continue the journey through philosophy, history, and timeless human questions, backhand index pointing right, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Unfolding Journey, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. The journey of wisdom is long, and we're just getting started. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.